Say 2, 1, 8.
On KBLA, James Farr's on the mic, lifting up the people, keeping hope in sight. With Altadena spirit, he fights the good fight, speaking truth to power, shining the light. Flames try to break us, but we're standing tall. Lost our homes, but we ain't lost at all. Through the smoke and the ashes, we see the sun. Altadena's fight has just begun. Just begun. We'll rise again. We'll build it strong. Through the struggle, yes, we belong. Hand in hand, through dust and pain, Altadena's heart remains.
KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to The Conversation Live. Altadena Rising, and I am your host, James Farr. This is the show of record, and we are chronicling for the nation the devastating and deadly January 2025 Altadena Eaton Canyon fire. I'm so appreciative that you've allowed me to share this space with you. Some of you may be still in the kitchen and possibly in the living room getting together for this wonderful weekend. I mean, it's hot out this weekend, and you may be headed out or perhaps in the yard or in the garage. Thank you so much for allowing me to share this space with you. I want to invite you to follow me on social media and follow the station at KBLA 1580 across all of your social platforms. And you can follow me at James Farr Live. And if you've missed any of our previous episodes, you can find the podcast version of this program wherever you get your podcast. We're also over on the station's YouTube page as well. Coming up today, as promised, I told you, Palisades, we haven't forgotten about you, and you spoke, we listened, and she's here. Let's set it up for a little bit of context.
But we are going to move as fast as we can, but we want you to be safe, and we want you to be back in your homes immediately.
But the people are willing to clean out their own debris. It doesn't cost a lot.
Yes, and they can.
You should let them do it, because by the time you hire contractors, it's going to be 2 years.
If a family...
The people are willing to get a dumpster and do it themselves and clean it out.
And they can.
There's not that much left. It's all incinerated.
That's right.
And, you know, it's just going to take a long time if you do. You can do some of it, but a lot of these people, I know that guy right there that's talking. I know my people. You'll be on that thing tonight, throwing the stuff away, and your site it'll look perfect within 24 hours, and that's what he wants to do. He doesn't want to wait around for 7 months till the city hires some demolition contract that's going to charge him $25,000 to do his lot. Yeah. I think you have emergency powers just like I do, and I'm exercising my emergency powers. You have to exercise them also.
I did exercise them.
Because I looked, you have a very powerful emergency power, and you can do everything within 24 hours.
Yes. And if individuals want to clear out their property, they can. Well, yes, but you know that you will be able to
That's
go
Mayor
back
Karen
soon.
Bass, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, and she's in the seat today. We want to catch up with her about what's happening in the Pacific Palisades. The mayor will join us at the bottom of the hour, but in the top of the hour, Pasadena developer and builder Joel Bryant, the president and founder of Bronzeville Construction. Black folks are building. Not too many, but some are. Joel has actually put the shovel in the ground, and I want to talk with Joel about what that process is, how folks get to the point of putting the shovel in the ground. We know that just under 140 building permits have been issued in Altadena. That's a significant increase since July 7th, when we were just 6 months out of the event. Now that we're 7 months out of the event, we are seeing some shovels in the dirt. So I'm looking forward to that conversation with Joel Bryant coming up very, very, very soon. So yesterday, folks, I'm going to try to choose my words very wisely. In Altadena yesterday, celebrity actress, comedian Tiffany Haddish invited the community and anyone out to purchase to receive groceries. Hundreds of people showed up. Hundreds of people received groceries. Hundreds of more didn't receive groceries. Was this charity or was it surrogacy? Let's roll in this clip, Simeon, and I'll pick it up on the other side.
I'm so happy you showed up. I invited a lot of different celebrities, a lot of people that I thought had money, and you are the only one that showed up.
Well, I'm always your wing person.
You are my wing person, my wing man, and I appreciate you. And thank you for showing up.
I love you.
It means a lot.
We do nice things together, though.
We do really great things together, but it means so much to me that you showed up. Like, so many people don't show up.
Come on. I always show up.
The way you show up for me, I hope you show up the same way for California. I don't know if y'all know this, but he's running for governor, and hopefully, I know it. You're going to be the governor, and you're going to show up for us the way you've been showing up.
I love California so much. I'm willing to do anything and serve. I'm built to serve. I love serving. You know that.
Well, it's time to get into service. Thank y'all so much for being here today.
Hey, what's up?
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, I don't know our dear sister. I do believe her intentions were great, and I salute them, right? I appreciate her bringing this resource, and many others appreciated her bringing this resource to the community. But I do have some questions about Stephen Cloobeck, who is announced the candidacy to run for governor. And when we look at the billionaire class coming into the community, right? I mean, we're 7 months out. While this was for anybody, and we all agree that there are shortages in California and America, and just people in general. People need a little bit of help, right? But sis, do that, and we appreciate it. But I don't know that we necessarily appreciate the surrogacy of bringing in the billionaire class into the community, spending $150 per person, and then calling it stimulating the economy. I didn't find the humor in the admonishment to the community members that this wasn't the time to steal, that they were not buying liquor, that they were not buying tobacco. What people in this community want is to be back home. We could do that differently. God bless you. I appreciate it, Tiffany Haddish. I really do. And I'm sure many others. I've received several text messages and emails since this happened. But folks were at work from 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Seniors stood in line for hours. Some got nothing. I'm talking about rebuilding this community. When we come forward, Joel Bryant, don't get me started. When we come forward, Joel Bryant is going to join us. I want to know what it takes to get a shovel in the ground. I want to know what it takes to get the billionaire class to come in here and help our community. Stay with us only on KBLA Talk 1580, your ancestors' favorite radio station.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
On January 7th, 2025, the Eaton Canyon Fire scorched Altadena, torching everything in its path. Homes, wealth, and legacy burned in one night. But will Altadena rise from the ashes? I'm James Farr. On the Conversation Live Altadena Rising, we're chronicling the recovery, the resilience, and justice for the nation. This is the show of record, unapologetically progressive. We're not blacking down. So join me, James Farr, on the Conversation Live Altadena Rising every Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific with the rebroadcast on Sunday at noon.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth.
Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
KBLA Talk 1580, you're listening to the Conversation Live, Altadena Rising, and I'm your host, James Farr, and we are sponsored in part by Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. Just before we came forward, I told you there have been just about 140 building permits, right, issued by the County of Los Angeles for the Altadena area. I only know of a handful of shovels that have actually gone into the ground since that point. I only know of one black family that has put a shovel in the ground. And today, this morning, I have the builder, the developer, who has put that shovel in the ground and is helping to bring a family back home sooner than later. I'm joined by Joel Bryant, the founder and president of Bronzeville Construction, Inc., and he's a local Altadena, Pasadena guy. Joel, how you doing, brother?
I'm very well, James. Thanks for having me on this morning.
Absolutely.
I'm actually actually in Altadena now at the job site.
See, we got you on location. Now, the delegation may be familiar with you, Joel, from you sitting with us at our town hall back at the 100th day mark. It was important that we centered local people first, folks who are actually doing the work. And in between that time, you've put some shovel in the dirt. Tell me a little bit about that family, and then we'll get more into what that process is.
This family, it's a longtime Altadena resident named Paul. We call her Paula Kay, and she is someone I've been affiliated with through youth sports, and our families are friends. And as you know, on January 8th, everyone's life changed, and she was one of the first people that called me, asked for my help. So we are under construction and are getting ready to pour her concrete slab on Tuesday morning.
Wow. And so you started this process. It's probably been, 3 weeks or so ago? I remember when you first reached out to me and let me know.
We did. Yeah, we did. We started about 3 weeks ago with there was additional debris removal we had to do, grading. We had to build some retaining walls. As you know, Altadena's a hilly community, and properties, you have to kind of stabilize the site. So that's what we've been doing.
Right. I saw some of the photos that you shared with me, and pictures worth 1,000 a word. I saw relief. I saw some smiles. How's the family doing, moving this much closer to getting their home back on their property?
Paula was by here yesterday, and I happened to miss her, so I talked to her and her daughter on the phone. Terry's her name, and being in construction, and this is what I've been doing over the last 23 years. This is something that I don't think people actually believe it's going to happen until they see things in the ground. And I know yesterday, the phone call, I heard hope in her voice and excitement.
And that is awesome.
That's all it's because I think they can see that this is real and it's going to happen.
And I think it was important for, folks obviously have to make their own choice, Joel Bryant, in terms of what builder, what contractor, what developer, what all of those services look like, right? And we saw very early on, I mean, our community was inundated in this disaster capitalism and some of these predatory practices that were happening. Why did this particular community member choose you?
You know, James, I'm from Altadena, West Altadena, to be specific. My wife and I did move down to Pasadena, and that's where we've been the last 30 years. But it's just a community that I know a lot of people. A lot of people know me. As you know, James, I'm not a really publicly outward person. I just let the actions do the speaking. And Paula was aware of the projects I built, the affordable housing units I built in Pasadena, and she's followed my career, never thinking that she would be using me to build her home back. And again, right after the fire, she was probably the second person that called me. And from that point on, people don't even often know an architect or a civil engineer or a surveyor, all of which are important in this process. So besides building her home, I am serving as an owner's rep advisor, getting all of the pre-construction design in order, helping them with the budget, working with the insurance companies. That's probably been one of the bigger challenges, is trying to make sure the numbers work with what the insurance is going to pay out. So I'm grateful that people have trust in me. That means a lot.
Well, one of the things you shared with me, I think, when I ran into you in the community, is that you weren't interested in building 100 houses, right? Or perhaps maybe not even looking at the capacity of building 100 houses. So is it better for someone to go with I'll say boutique, right? I don't want to say, small, but just a sized right type of builder. Tell me the difference between the two, some of these larger companies versus your business.
So I am an urban planner who evolved to a developer who evolved to a contractor actually during the Great Recession of 2008, 9, and 10, when the money market just collapsed. And as a developer, I drowned. And so I had been contracting my own projects. What I ended up doing was taking that contracting, and that's what I've been doing the last 14, 15 years. And so I like to tell people my client base, and I won't say I have more than 10 homes. I have 10 homes under contract and about 15 that I'm talking to people on. It's all organic, James. I don't even pass out business cards, nor do I have flyers. and it's just family, friends, and referrals. There are one interesting story. A story that one of the members of the Altadena Chamber told me after the fire. There were 40 to 50 contractors who immediately joined the Altadena Chamber. Not a one was from Altadena.
Right.
And there's some good contractors out there. There's some really good ones, and then there's a term that I learned from you this morning, disaster capitalism. There's a lot of that as well, and I think it's just this gut feeling that people have to have. Everything isn't for everybody, right? And so I feel people should trust their intuition on how this situation feels. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. You finished your point. I appreciate it. So let's get that shovel in the ground, right? Because I've heard rebuilding anywhere from, and I'm not asking about the specifics of your project. You share what you choose. But I've heard anything from $500 per square foot on up to over $1,000 per square foot, right, to rebuild or for folks to build a new structure on their property. What's a reasonable range based on what you're seeing, kind of an average?
The projects I'm looking at are coming in the high 400s per square foot to around 600.
Okay.
And it's really important to highlight here that the smaller homes are going to cost more per square foot. As you get
why
up
is
to
that?
2,000, it's just the volume of things. For example, whether you build 1,500 square feet or 2,500 square feet, you still will buy the same amount of appliances generally. And when you take the cost of one's appliance package, and in my build, I price out everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pricing out appliances, flooring, window coverings. When I'm done, I want to be able to hand the owner a key and they can move in. It's move-in ready. There's not landscape that needs to be done. There's not. And by the way, that number I'm including does include what we call soft costs for the architect and engineering. So the all-in cost, because what I don't want to do is give somebody a budget and then later on down the line they say, well, I thought you included this. And
is that landscaping also?
Landscaping, irrigation. And it's an allowance because people don't know what that's going to really come in at. But going back to the cost, I have heard of people building for less than that. I don't know how they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have heard of people, like, for example, $350 to $400. I haven't questioned anybody on what they're including or not including because I've just been focused on what I'm doing. But when I start to hear about people paying $700, $800, $900, $1,000 a square foot, I'm suspect of that, and I'm skeptical, and I'm concerned that they're overpaying. Unless they're really designing some really custom steel beam house with, storefront glass, and, because the costs just they shouldn't be that high, even for a really nice home. And all these homes are custom. We're building back what people, these aren't tract homes per se. They're, modern day construction, but we're customizing it to what people had.
And there's certainly new construction. I'm watching my clock. I'm watching my time, and I want to get to that part about take me from the time the design happens in our final couple of minutes here to how we get to the shovel. Get that shovel into the ground, pulling the permits. What's that process look like? How was it for you?
So we submitted plans in late April, and had a building permit on June 5th.
Okay.
That was the fastest I've been through, and I'm hearing different stories, but this is just Joel's experience. And we started about a month later on the groundbreaking. I told the client I need a month to stabilize, get contracts ready. Her and I executed a contract. And then we started with that picture you saw. We all got everybody out here and just said, hey, we blessed the site and spread good vibes over it, and we got going. And and I know we're short on time, but the Army Corps did these cleanups, but there's still additional cleanup that we had to do. And so that's what we started with. And I update her on, schedules and phone calls and text messages. And it should take us about, I'd like 12 months to get this built. We could perhaps do it a little sooner as long as tariffs and labor shortages and, inclement excessive weather doesn't impact us. Mm-hmm. She'll be moving in here next summer.
Wow. In our final minute or so, what do you want people to know? What should they be holding on to as they go through this process?
You got to have some patience. You have to, as a owner, you almost are like a mini developer / business entity. You have to oversee your money, because you're paying this contractor. You have to oversee the schedule, and you have to oversee the quality. And I say whoever feels right, even if the number isn't where you want it, whatever feels right, you got to. I trust the gut more than the brain sometimes, because you can outthink yourself, but your gut never lies to you. This person feels like the contractor, the builder that's going to get you across the finish line. I think it probably is.
That's Joel Bryant, the founder and president of Bronzeville Construction out in the Pasadena, Altadena area. How can people get in touch with you?
You could send me the email at joel@bronzeville.co. And here's the tricky thing, James. It's not .com, and it's JOEL at Bronzeville, BRONZEVILLE.co. And yes, the company is named after Bronzeville, Chicago, which is where my father grew up. So I grew up in Altadena, but that's just I like that name and that connection. So,
Brother Brian, I appreciate you taking time. Get back over there at work. I will see you later on this afternoon over at Perry's Joint for the scholarship.
Yes,
absolutely.
That's right. I'll see you.
When we come forward, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass is in the seat. She's going to share with us the challenges, the updates, and what leadership looks like leading Los Angeles through the wildfire. Stay with us only on KBLA Talk 1580. We got your black.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580. We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Be heard. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
She is, but I think that you do. I think that you do. That tell me, who is she and what is she to you? There's something in my heart and in your eyes. Who's she to you? Tells me she's not someone just passing by. What is she to you? And when you cleared your throat, was that supposed to be your...
KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to The Conversation live, Altadena Rising, and I am your host, James Farr. We are sponsored in part by Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. Palisades, Los Angeles, we didn't forget about you. As I told you at the top of the hour, you asked, we listened, we asked, she listened. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass is joining us, and looking forward to this conversation. Mayor Bass, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I am doing just fine. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you so much. I know you have a very busy schedule, and I want to make the most of my time. As you know, Mayor,
Sure.
we are focusing on this program about Altadena, but we do care about the Palisades. We are not comparing those two, but I want to ground it back for our folks back in the Pasadena-Altadena community and just have you reflect real briefly on the late, great Michael Zinzin, whom you've organized with back in your COCO days, Community Coalition days.
Actually, years and years before COCO, I met Michael in the 70s with the Coalition Against Police Abuse. It was that kind of work that we worked on together. Him from the Pasadena-Altadena area and me from the South LA area. It was a citywide coalition, and he was a tremendous leader. And his loss was felt to this day. And so I think it just speaks to the type of activism and leadership that comes out of the area that I certainly have always known. And even though I lived in another part of town, understood the connection between our neighborhoods. And just, my heart breaks for the people in Altadena who lost their homes. And Altadena, to me, one of the shining stars and examples of passing down generational wealth.
Yes.
That didn't happen in the same way in the Crenshaw area, which is why the demographics of that area has changed so much. And so thinking about Michael and thinking about the Altadena-Pasadena area is just very, very significant to all of us in the county.
Absolutely. Well, Mayor, we appreciate you again. And I just want to take you back to January real quick. January 7th, 8th. And then moving a little bit further around the 24th, you had a visit and press conference from President Trump, who had just been recently sworn in. And there was some discussion, 18 months or longer to clear debris. And he insisted that it happened now and couldn't quite figure out what hazardous debris is, right? Was looking for a definition. Have we exceeded the 18 months? Is it on track for 18 months? Or where's the Palisades at, like, right now with the recovery, like the rebuilding and the debris removal?
And I appreciate you asking, and also appreciate you pointing out that as much as I stand in solidarity with Altadena, the only part of the fire area that is represented by the city of Los Angeles is the Palisades. So that has been my focus. But I will tell you that the debris removal has moved really, really fast. 18 months, it's actually about 80 to 90% cleared right now in the seventh month. Mm-hmm. And by the end of the seventh month, it really will be complete. That doesn't mean that there won't be a house here or a house there, there is still debris because those owners elected to remove the debris on their own. But we are months and months and months ahead of where we anticipated being at this point in time.
Let's talk about some of the lessons learned. I mean, we're just about, a few months before fire season starts in earnest.
Well, I'm sorry. We kind of don't have fire season anymore.
I guess
that was January.
Yes.
It was December. Climate change has left us with year-round fire season.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell me about the lessons we've learned. How is Los Angeles better prepared for these type of natural disasters?
Well, I think tracking it much closer, pre-deploying. For example, right now we have a water outage in the north part of the city, and because we have a water outage and it's extremely hot, fortunately the winds aren't very strong. But we've pre-deployed fire there just in case. Mm. And so I think being aggressive with prevention and also, taking the risk of, over-preparing and deploying where it might not be needed, but not gambling. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Let's just go ahead and be aggressive in our prevention.
Well, folks from the Altadena area, the estimated 25,000 or more or so were displaced and had to relocate. Mm-hmm. Many of them came into the city of Los Angeles seeking refuge, shelter, relief, and resources. Can you tell me a little bit about how your administration, your office, helped to support some of our fellow Altadeneans who made it into L.A.?
Sure, and we don't have a specific account or know specifically where people are, but we sure would like to know.
Absolutely.
But one of the things that we did in my administration in the very beginning is we opened up a disaster recovery center. That's now closed, but before it did close, we saw over 9,000 individuals who came, and it didn't matter where they came from, so long as they were impacted by the fires. So that was to address the immediate needs. And again, the majority of that is not needed any longer. But we also opened up an impacted worker center, and that provided a variety of services for people. Those centers are still open. And again, for whoever walked in the door that was impacted by the fires, it didn't matter where they came from. But that helped individuals as well as people who worked in the area and were small business owners in the area. And we had 4 of those centers around the city, so they were accessible.
The permit process in Los Angeles looked different than Altadena, and it seemed like you kind of streamlined a lot of things, especially in the immediacy after the fire. You're talking about the disaster relief center. Like every service was available over at your Pico, Westwood kind of area. Was that easy to activate? It seemed a little bit slow in Altadena, and I'm not comparing you with the supervisor, Catherine Barger, and how you had to administrate, but why was it so easy for you to put those resources in place for your constituents?
Well, I think one of the differences might be when regulations are passed in the county, it impacts the entire county. And the city, obviously functions differently. And by the way, I work very, very closely, very well with Supervisor Barger. What we put in place was a one-stop rebuilding center. I didn't mention that because that was accessible, or is rather, because it's still open. That is accessible only for Los Angeles residents because it's about the Los Angeles permitting process, sure, which is, obviously specific to our area. But some of that streamlining we had already begun, and we had lessons learned from housing the people who are homeless. So we started the streamlining for that when I came into office 2.5 years ago. So we applied those lessons learned and practices to the rebuilding after the fires. And so that's still underway. So expedited permitting, especially if you're going to build the same thing back, then you pretty much just sail through the permitting process.
Well, Mayor Bassett, my final 90 seconds with you. I'd appreciate you taking this time with us. What do you want Los Angeles to know? Our listeners are in the Palisades as well. They're part of the delegation, and you're no stranger to KBLA Talk 1580 and our delegation. What do you want them to know? What resources are available? I'll give you that final time to share with us.
Sure, and really wanting people to take advantage of the One-Stop Rebuilding Center, but we also want your feedback, because when we do things like this, we are piloting, streamlining by applying it to a broader area. Let us know if something is not working so we can resolve it. We're in this together. We're going to stand together strong until every single person that wants to rebuild is rebuilt and back at home.
That's Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass. Mayor, thank you so much for joining us. And anytime, as you know, over here, as we sit in Leimert Park in the fine city of Los Angeles, the city that you are the mayor of, you always have an invitation here to come share information, how you're supporting the Palisades. Mayor, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. We'll be back.
Absolutely. When we come forward, I have some updates for you, some things happening in the community. You're listening to The Conversation Live, Altadena Rising. I'm your host, James Farr, and we are sponsored in part by Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
All I need is one mic.
With the KBLA Talk 1580 guest editorial, I'm Martin Gordon, chair of the Pasadena Community Coalition. Recently, I listened to a Tavis Smiley show conversation with James Farr. At one point, James said something that caught me off guard. Not because it wasn't true, but because it is. Black Altadena is gone. I know it may seem stupid and non-productive, but I stopped in that moment listening to Tavis and James. I broke down and cried. In the back of my mind, I told myself we can bring it back like it was. But James Farr's reality check hit me like a ton of bricks. My community is being murdered. I said murdered, not by the Altadena Eaton Canyon Fire, but by the people we elect to protect us, and by greedy and gatekeeping nonprofits who cannot see the forest for the trees. For the first time since the fire, I truly feel and understand my wife's inconsolable pain. Because I'm struggling to find a path to recovery and at least some form of normalcy. My community is crumbling right in front of my face. Lack of funding to rebuild is slowly destroying us. Many of us can no longer hold out, and developers are gobbling up our property. When I hear voices like Tavis Smiley and James Farr speak truth to power on KBLA Talk 1580, it reminds me that we're not crazy, just unheard. Make no mistake here, KBLA delegation, this is war, and we the people of Black Altadena are losing. It's like waiting for reparation. Not gonna happen, brother. In this new orange man world, no one, no entity is persuaded by right or wrong. There is no consequence for doing the wrong thing, and no accolades or support for doing the right thing. Will war-torn Black Altadena survive? Your guess is as good as mine. But what have I got to lose? I'm in my 70s and don't have time to wait. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once suggested that riots break out when people have no hope. But there's nothing left to burn down in Altadena. I wish I could say I remain hopeful that my beloved community will rise again like a phoenix from the ashes. I wish I could. With a KBLA Talk 1580 guest editorial, I'm Martin Gordon, chair of the Pasadena Community Coalition. Pasadena Community Coalition at gmail.com. Reach out to me. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this? We didn't think so. You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to The Conversation Live, Altadena Rising, and I am your host, James Farr. We are sponsored in part by Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. It's that time of the program where I give you some updates. That's why we say it's time for some action. Shout out to Redman. We're going deep into the golden age of hip-hop, Simeon, with that track, right? Time for some action, right? Not action, right? Reggie Noble from New Jersey. Actually prefer him and Redman as a combo, but that's not what we're talking about. So check this out, y'all. This upcoming Sunday, right? A lot of things happening this week. This upcoming Sunday, not tomorrow, but the following week, the Men of Distinction Luncheon is taking place, and I invite you to be my guest. It's at a location that I don't want to necessarily announce because it is free, right? But we don't want to crush of people and rush of people to show up. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, if you're not following me at James Farr Live across all socials, make sure you do that. Now, if you're interested in coming, DM me and I will make sure that you are my special guest. You can sit with me at a table. Not that I'm special. You're the special guest. And we want to honor men who are our heroes, who led through this disaster and recovery. So make sure you hit me up. I'll tell you more about it. Also today, right now, Perry's Joint sandwich shop in Pasadena at 2051 Lincoln Avenue. It's the 15th annual Community Scholarship Drive. Every dime you put on the counter, you heard Perry last week, you heard Dr. Lawton Gray, principal of John Muir High School here, talk to you about this important community-driven event. 100% of all revenue. Most companies will donate 10% or a percentage of something after they've taken their expenses and costs out. But that's not how Brother Perry Bennett is doing it today. There's also a GoFundMe open. If you can't make it up to the store, go on the GoFundMe and look for Perry's Joint Community Scholarship Fund 2025. You can participate there. 6 young scholars are headed off to college and university this year. Perry does this with an intention that these young people know that it is their community that has their back, right? Now, I'm at this intersection of the grocery store that I talked to you about a little bit earlier, which is just up the street from Perry's, probably less than a half a mile, right, where Tiffany Haddish invited billionaire gubernatorial candidate Stephen Cloobeck, right? Here's a clue. I think supporting a small black business that is giving up 100% of every dollar that comes through the door today is a far bigger story than a comedian confusing the economy with disaster economy. See what I mean by that? What ends up happening is we see money redistributed, right? Hundreds, some are estimating $1 billion has been raised. And I'm with all the backpack giveaways. I'm with all of the toy drives. I'm with all of the other giveaways. But my friend, my mentor, my community member, my Baba in the community, Martin Gordon, says he doesn't need any more goddamn shoes. He doesn't have a refrigerator to put the 5 pounds of meats in. Here's the clue. Build the houses back. And it doesn't take an audience to do it. When we come forward, I got a Saturday slap that definitely has a message in the music. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. We got your black.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580. This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to the conversation live. Altadena Rising, and this thing goes by real fast, y'all. And I think I got a little too excited today, and I got the text message. No, I'm not mad. No, I'm not upset. Yes, I am passionate, and yes, I give a. Okay, and there I go with the cursive stuff. So I'm gonna leave that right there. But what I'm really saying is the billionaire class, right? Pick 100 families, $100 million. That's less than your annual return in interest. You don't know 100 people. I do. Call me. I don't want anything. I don't want any clout. I don't want any fanfare. I don't want anything. I don't want to be confused that if we go into a grocery store and buy it out that we're helping the community. We working on the building over here, y'all.
Everybody likes a sure thing.
It's a true foundation.
Truest one I know. And my job is holding up the bloodstain.
Holding up the bloodstain.
Banner for the Lord.
Banner for the Lord.
And I've got something to look forward to.
Just as soon as I get through.
Because as soon as I get through working on this building.
Working on the building.
What you gonna do, Herndon? I'm going on to heaven?
I'm going on to heaven.
And get what's rightfully mine.
Get my reward.
And maybe you're accustomed to physical labor. But every time you see me crying,
I've seen too many people crying, working on their building.
You see, I gotta pay for it somehow.
Cause they gotta pay for it somehow. Let that breathe a little bit, Simeon. Give me a little bit more.
Trouble makes sure I don't be too late with my payments. And it won't be as long as it has been. A few more rising.
Mayor Bass, thank you for joining us. Joel Bryant, thank you for your integrity and helping families work on that building. Big shout out to the team that makes this happen. Kim, Nyla, Reggie, Simeon back there on the boards. Tiana does the graphics. Angela Roddick Wright is up next with the Legal Lens, and she has an amazing show. Until we have another opportunity to speak with you, as always, Agape.
And come what may, I'm going to keep holding up the bloodstain. Banner for the Lord.
When the flames subside, who ensures that the stories endure? At KBLA Talk 1580, we're committed to preserving the voices that shape our community. We know people have short memories, and as long as this Black Talk radio station is on the air, we will not let Altadena be forgotten. We are honored to announce that the Altadena Historical Society will officially archive our recent town hall, alongside every episode of Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr. This is the show of record, the definitive source for tracking Altadena's roots, resilience, recovery, and reunion. These stories will now live on for students, scholars, researchers, and journalists seeking truth and legacy in the months and years to come. Because history isn't just made, it's honored, it's recorded, and it's passed forward. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.